watching Mrs. K's Healthy Eating channel, and we're here to help you to eat well and get cooking. Welcome back to the dairy-free and calcium vegan section. We're now going to do our practical, which is to make some falafels with a tahini paste. Right, let's get started. So I have prepared my vegetables. I've washed down all my surfaces, washed hands, and got my ingredients ready. So what do we need to make these falafels? You know, I didn't realize how easy falafels are. But one thing about this recipe that I'm fascinated with is that the falafels are actually green inside. Now that's because we are including 2 cups of 3 types of herbs, and that is parsley, mint, and coriander. Now, these are amazingly full of nutrients. If you think about it, these herbs used to be used as medicines many hundreds of years ago, and yet now we just consider herbs as a flavor. So they're a lot more than a flavor. So adding these is not only adding vital nutrients, and they are packed with a little bit of almost everything. So there is some calcium in these, but there is not a lot of it. However, they not only give us flavor, but they give us color and nutrients. So all we're going to do with this is we're just going to put it into our blender, our Magimix. I'm using a Magimix, and we're going to just put everything in here and just blend it together. It's as easy as that. Now, first of all, we need our chickpeas. Our chickpeas are the main ingredient. And I soaked my chickpeas overnight in cold water, the correct amount, and I'm going to pour those in. Now, I could easily have opened up a can of chickpeas, but there is a warning that canned chickpeas do not make good falafels. So we're using fresh ones, and it's very easy to soak them. Just all you have to do is pop them in a bowl with some cold water overnight, 12 hours, and there they are, ready to use. So we've put in our chickpeas. Now I'm just going to pour in my herbs, my coriander, my parsley, and my mint, which is going to give a lovely aroma. Then a bunch of spring onions. So I took up a bunch. I left one left just to, if you're not used to using spring onions, just to show you how to prepare them. So we just chop off the end of it and chop off. Some of the green is not always so very nice, so we basically chop that off. Then you have to peel. This always looks a bit mucky, so you have to peel the outside layers off, a bit like a leek as well. So if you peel off those layers, you'll find that there's a lovely clean spring onion there. And then literally you just, well, I'm not even going to have to chop these finely. I just have to chop them up, pop them in a bowl with the others. The other thing is I've got 2 cloves of garlic. You can go up to 4 cloves, but I don't like the garlic to be too strong. So I'm going to just pour this in here as well. Right. Now all we have left are some spices. So we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of cumin. 1 teaspoon of cumin. There we go. 1 teaspoon of sea salt. 1 teaspoon of sea salt. We're going to put in, it says half a teaspoon of cardamom. Now, I'm not terribly keen on the taste of cardamom, so I'm going to use less. I also didn't have ground cardamom. I just had cardamom pods. So I basically got some pods and opened them up, and inside I took out, there were some little black seeds, if you can see them. They're little sort of look like little worms, but they're not, they're seeds. Okay, so I'm just going to pop those in there, and then I'm going to do half a teaspoon of coriander, ground coriander. I've got fresh coriander in here as well. And then, for a little bit of spice, and this is optional, half or quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, because cayenne pepper is very strong. So I'm going to put a quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Actually, I might just put a little bit more because we do like our things spicy. So some cayenne pepper and some freshly ground pepper in there. Right. And strangely enough, some baking powder. Say 3/4 of a spoon of baking powder. That's because these are going to be either baked in the oven or fried to make them a bit more fluffy. Okay, well, that's it. Let's see what happens. Magimix on and mix. Amazingly, you don't even have to put oil in this. So there is no fat added to this oil, this at all. And already you'll be able to see how this is grinding down. Okay, so let's do it a little more, and I can smell the mint and basil. Now, how coarse you want it is actually up to you. You don't have to grind it. You can have it coarser if you want. I like it quite ground, so I'm going to do this a little bit more. I don't want too many crunchy chickpea pieces in the falafel. You can also pulse. Make sure you don't overdo it, but you don't want it to be completely pulped down. You do want some texture in it, and I think I'm actually happy with that now. So I'm going to take this off and show you what it looks like. Right, that's all you have to do. Right, so now all we have to do is pop it into our bowl, and we're going to actually chill this for 15 minutes. Now, if you used canned chickpeas, you would actually have to chill it for a minimum of 2 hours, because the canned chickpeas tend to be more mushy, whereas the dried chickpeas are not even cooked, and they are they're much firmer. So we're going to put this in here, but because we're using fresh dried chickpeas, we're going to put this in the fridge for 15 minutes. Scrape our bowl out. I always say better in the bowl than in the bin. I don't like to leave any. Right. This smells absolutely wonderful. Okay, I'm going to put that safely back in there. And now I'm going to cover this with some cling film and pop it in the fridge for 15 minutes. I have my cling film all ready and set when I need to use it. There we go. Now we're going to pop that in, and we're going to make our tahini paste. So the falafel mixture is now setting in the fridge, and now we're going to make our tahini. Now I got the pack of 200-gram pack of tahini of sesame seeds, and I toasted mine. So just on a medium heat, I just warmed up the pan, put the sesame seeds in, and just waited until you could really smell that sesame flavor coming out. Don't burn them, don't do them too long, just watch them carefully, and then as soon as they're starting to turn golden brown, just take them off the heat. So now we're ready to put our tahini, our sesame seeds, into the Magimix, and I won't put it into the large Magimix because the quantity is too small, so I'm going to use a small bowl, if you've got a blender, you could use that. Okay, so this is quite a heavy pan, and I'm going to just pour these sesame seeds into my blender. Okay, now this is going to be another shock just how easy this is. All you need to make tahini paste are two things: sesame seeds and some oil. We also could add some salt. You don't have to use salt. I will use salt because I like to. Salt brings out the flavor, so I'm going to add some salt to mine. So 2, if not 3 ingredients. That's all you need. So I'm going to crush these first. I'm going to grind them. Then I'm going to add some oil. This is now just about ready. It has taken a few minutes. It's taken quite a while to grind them down. So here we are. If I show you what that looks like, it is quite ground now. Now the way that we make it into a liquid is literally by adding some oil. And it's advisable not to use olive oil because it has a strong flavor unless you get a very light olive oil. But to use an oil that really doesn't have a lot of taste, strong taste. So they reckon about 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil. So we're just going to drizzle that in. Obviously, the more oil you put in, the higher the fat content. But this is unsaturated fat, good fat. So that's 2. That's 3. Starting to look quite creamy now. But I think since we're going to use it as a dressing, I'm going to have to add another tablespoon. Sorry about the noise. Right, it's starting to look a bit more creamy now. Okay. So here we have a pouring consistency now. We could blend it. I could blend it a bit more. If I were you, I would just put it on the blender and go off and do something else while it's blending. But since we're together, I don't want to make so much noise. And all we're going to do now is pour it into a nice clean sterilized jar. So I'm going to take this out and I'm literally going to pour it in. It's a bit like making mayonnaise, except it's sesame mayonnaise. It's a bit like that. And it can be a dressing. You can add things to this to make it more full of flavor. Now, if you were making hummus, you literally put in your blender a can of chickpeas. You take a tablespoon of this sesame paste, this tahini paste. You add the juice of a lemon. And then you can add any flavors or vegetables. You could do some roasted red peppers, pop those in. And you just blitz it, and there we go. That's your hummus. Done, made. So there we have our tahini paste. So that now can keep in the fridge for a couple of weeks, but I'm sure you're going to use that up very quickly if you were using that as a salad dressing. And we're going to use this on our falafels as a dressing. Okay, time now to check out the falafels in the fridge and to start making little falafel patties or balls. Okay, so I'll see you in a second. Right, so we've now made our paste And now I've taken out the falafel mixture out of the fridge, and I have already started making some because it would take too long to do with you. So I've left some behind. Best thing to use is an ice cream scoop, and make sure your hands are washed nice and clean. So basically you just scoop up some mixture in the ice cream thing, and then I found the best way to do it is to pull it out carefully. That keeps it nicely intact, and then just curve around the edges and you'll see that we've got a whole lot of them. Okay. There is definitely, if you find that your mixture doesn't stick together, it's all crumbly, then put it back in your processor and process it till it's smaller pieces, because you may find that the texture is crumbly because the pieces of chickpeas are actually still too large. So it must be able to form a ball. So there's very little to do here using an ice cream scoop. I found that this has been really successful. Okay, so I'm going to scoop that into there. Just about finished. Remember, better in the pan than in the bin. Scoop up every little bit. Okay, and press it in firmly so that it doesn't crumble away. And then you can't push, bang it out, it just crumbles. So pull it out smoothly, and there we go. That's our bowl finished now, and we've got a good portion here of falafels that we're going to fry. My oil's just busy heating up, so I'm going to now go and wash my hands and then go over to the cooker to start frying them. Right, so here we are at the cooker. I've heated up my oil. It is hot now. I heat it up on a high heat, but we need to watch. Don't walk away from the frying pan because oil can burst into flames. So we need to just make sure. I'm going to test this oil now with one of the falafels to see if it's hot enough. So just gently lay. Yeah, that's bubbling away nicely. So I'm going to put my falafels gently in. I do them 2 at a time. You don't need to touch the oil in any way. You need to slide them off your spoon very carefully. Okay? Don't want to touch any oil. There we go. This is going to take all of them, I think. It's a nice big pan. And it doesn't take long to fry them. Now, you don't have to fry the falafels. You can, if you're worried about calories, you could bake them in a hot oven. They're just more crunchy this way. If you want something that's crunchy, then fry them. If you want something that's not quite as crunchy and that you're going to actually keep, then you could quite happily bake them because you don't need the crunch. I'm just going to wash my hands. Right, so these have been frying away, and they're now, I've turned them because they were nice and brown. If you can see, they've browned on the outside. I've now turned them over. Some of them are still not ready. This pan is quite big and doesn't quite fit over my heat, so they're going at different speeds. But if we have a look at these ones directly on the heat now, they are brown on the outside, but on both sides. So that now would be ready. Okay, so I'm going to carefully put them onto some paper towel just to drain off some of the oil, and we're going to get ready to plate them and have them as a lunchtime light meal. That one's done. Right, so how many shall I serve? I'm going to serve 5 for one plate. I'll leave these to continue to brown nicely. I think the amount of time that it takes to cook these is going to depend on the size of your pan and the type of pan. This non-stick pan actually is not very good, but I don't have another type of pan. Also, if you've got gas, it's going to be much quicker because the heat is more intense. So if I take these falafels that are now done, and I'm going to place them on the plate. I've made a salad with the pak choi leaves, some salad vegetables and tomatoes, and I'm going to drizzle a little of the tahini paste on here and on the pak choi, and that is now ready to serve. So a meal high in calcium, but everything is plant-based. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I will see you soon for the next session. Thanks. Bye-bye.